Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, John Herold. Hope you're all having a good day so far. Decent amount of stuff to talk about today. The New York shooting, especially, I'm seeing a lot of commentary on it, and I just want to throw my 2 cents in. We'll talk about some of the D-class updates, some stuff we're expecting, and some reporting on it that has been weirdly inaccurate from the mainstream media. I guess that's not really a surprise, though. We're also going to talk Sydney Sweeney and what is it, Abercrombie and Fitch, or I don't even know, one of those clothing companies. The libs are melting down over it, and it's just kind of funny. But there's lots of stuff in between as well. So we'll get right to it. But how's the chat doing? Yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, everybody. Go. What time is it? My iPhone says noon, my laptop says 12:06, and the stove says 12:07. That's funny. But yeah, let's get a quick word from our sponsors of today's show. First up, My Pillow guys are having a pretty good sale. Their regular My Pillow, the standard My Pillow, $19.98. They're also giving pretty much their entire collection for the wholesale prices. Queen size My Pillows, $24.98. King size for $29.98. Body pillows for $39.98. And the multi-use My Pillows for only $12.98. MyPillow.com. Use promo code Badlands, or you can call 1-800-795-5154. You get the wholesale pricing and receive $100 in free digital gifts when your order is $75 or more. That's right. The standard My Pillow, only $19.98. MyPillow.com, promo code Badlands. We also got a little conscious strength from Jordan Sather here. I'm loving his products, taking them more and more. And you know what? I forgot to take my methylene blue, and I'm going to do that while this ad is playing.
What's up, Badlanders? It's summer, it's hot, you're probably sweaty and dehydrated.
Was I actually muted, guys? There's no way that's true. I just saw a comment in the chat. I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm not muted. Your audio is... Bea Arthur's... Never mind. But turn your volume up. Anyway, here's conscious strength.
What's up, Badlanders? It's summer, it's hot, you're probably sweaty and dehydrated, which is why you could use a nice tall glass of electrolytes from Conscious Strength. Instead of sugar-laden Gatorade full of food dye,
you're drinking the wrong water.
These electrolytes are naturally flavored and sweetened. Zero sugar, so they're keto-friendly. The sodium comes from pink Himalayan sea salt, and they have a healthy dose of magnesium and potassium to help you replenish and recover. And at less than $1 a serving, they're cheaper than those sports drinks and most big-name electrolyte brands. Drink your electrolytes on a hot day to rehydrate. They're great pre- or post-workout, and also awesome for a hangover recharge. And for the rest of July, they're 15% off. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/strength to grab your can. Plus, use promo code Badlands for an extra 5% off and to support your favorite grassroots media company. One more time, that's badlandsmedia.tv/strength. Link will be in the description below.
Yeah, chat's saying I'm going salt and pepper in the beard. When my beard gets long, you can definitely see the grays come through. I don't mind it. It is what it is. Anyway, no update on the Doge website, but no surprise there because they just updated it like 3 days ago, and I'm not expecting another update until the end of August. Also, no update on the presidential website, but probably the biggest story is, it's all subjective, right? But the shooting that happened in New York yesterday. So yesterday, there's this guy. Let me pull up a picture of him. The mainstream media, CNNs of the world, were reporting for a little bit that it was a white suspect. But then when you look at the actual pictures of who it was, this is him walking into a building, and it was 345 Park Avenue, New York, which is home of NFL headquarters, Blackstone. Oh, there's more. Blackstone Group, Capital Trust, Deutsche Bank, KPMG, Loeb & Loeb LLP, the National Football League, ClothesFlow.co, the Rudin Management Company, which is the company that owns the building, and Wafra Inc. It's got one of its own zip code. It's a big building, but he just waltzed in, and his name is let me find it. Shane Devin Tamura. It's being reported that there was a suicide note found in his pocket. He had grievances against the NFL because he's claimed that he suffered from CTE. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said investigators believe Tamura was headed for the NFL offices, but took the wrong elevator. Apparently, there's certain elevator banks that go up to certain floors for certain, certain businesses or whatever, and he got in the wrong one. Went up to the 33rd floor. He killed somebody up there, and then he ended up taking his own life. I am seeing a lot of posts on social media about this. A lot of people like, oh, this was, either the white hats or the black hats taking out somebody who's, part of the deep state, essentially. That one of the people that was killed, I'll show you this lady here. Blackstone executive among 4 killed in Midtown office tower shooting. Wesley Petner, a married mother of 2 and senior managing director at Blackstone, was killed in the lobby of 345 Park Avenue after a 37-year-old Shane Tamura stormed the building and began shooting. She's confirmed dead. She joined Blackstone in 2014. She served as the global head of Core Plus Real Estate and CEO of Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust, which holds $53 billion in assets. She's previously at Goldman Sachs. But what I'm seeing a lot of from people is it wasn't just like a random shooting. It was a targeted shooting of Wesley because she runs, Blackstone or whatever. She's like the real estate agent for the elite. And, whether she flipped and the black hats took her out or the white hats saw the significance of who she was, they took her out. That's why she's dead. So, like, to me, it's difficult for me to jump down to those conclusions when tragedies like this happen. And the way it's being reported, like based on everything I'm seeing, I'm getting a completely opposite reading of that. And I can show you why I think that. So let me show you this first. I just gotta get to my highlights here. There's a lot of okay. Wesley Lepatner, a senior managing director for the financial giant, was shot and killed in the lobby. So he's killed in the lobby when he opened fire in anger at the NFL, which shares the same building. 4 people dead, right? So he walks in. Apparently, he came in at 6:30 p.m. and that's when he first shot the NYPD police officer. And then he also started spraying the lobby with gunfire. Again, reporting, we haven't seen videos. It's totally possible this was just an actual hit. I'm just not buying that at this point based on what we're being told. But he started spraying the lobby. And when he was spraying the lobby, that's when this Blackstone executive who was leaving the building, wasn't on her floor, in the lobby, got hit. She was hiding behind a pillar. Also, a security guard was crouching behind his desk, got basically taken out. And then we have a timeline here too. He walks in the building, enters the lobby, turns right, he shoots a police officer, guns on a woman cowering behind a pillar. That's the Blackstone exec. Sprays more bullets, shoots a security guard, lets somebody off the elevator, gets in, goes up to the 33rd floor, which is actually the floor of the property owner of the building. So Rudin Properties. Kills somebody on the floor, and then when he realizes he isn't going to get to the NFL building or whatever, NFL floors, he killed himself. I'm just, anytime there's any sort of tragedy like this, whether it's a shooting or terrorist incident or something, a lot of people in our community like to jump immediately to what's the conspiracy theory behind it, and let's try to solve that. This is clearly a deep state thing. And some people even oh, it's fake anyway. None of this ever happened. I don't take those approaches. I think this is real. I think there are crazy people in the world who have access to guns, and crazy, evil people do crazy, evil things. and not everything is a hit job. Not everything is, I don't know, just based on what we know and what I'm seeing here, I don't think it's a hit. But yeah, 72-hour rule in effect. I just think it's a tad like what if you're wrong about the, this is a deep state hit job, all those things, and we get the video, he like just goes in there spraying around, and he happened to kill that one Blackstone exec, and you're out here talking like with confidence that this was something bigger. It's just I don't know. I think it's a little insensitive, especially in the immediate aftermath, and a lot of that is done for clicks, in my opinion. But anyway, I don't think I have anything else on that specific story. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it was a hit job, but I'm just not there. I do want to see like a layout of the building, but honestly, like after talking about this, we'll get more details in the coming days. But I can't imagine this will be a major topic of discussion moving forward. It is crazy though, like a building with all those people in there, like all those businesses, the NFL, Blackstone, very wealthy companies, right? A lot of money there. It seems to have pretty lax security. And it obviously happened in New York. But thinking of like all the potential terror cells in the United States, Ezra Cohen Watnick have warned about that for a while, all the illegal immigration. Like these people are probably salivating like, oh my gosh, this guy just walked in a building, killed like 6 people just by randomly opening fire. That's a scary prospect. Very. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I got on that. So let's just start buzzing through some other news. I thought this was interesting. The Justice Department. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this one first. This is one of the more prevalent topics we're going to be talking about for the foreseeable future. And that is the Spygate stuff, the Rico Grande, right? This story came out yesterday from Brooke Singman. Never heard of her, but I actually did DM her because she messed up something in this article, like the timeline. She messed up, and I'm curious. I'm actually going to refresh this page, see if she corrected it. This is really ridiculous. It's pretty easy to understand. I'll show you guys. FBI's controversial Trump-Russia actions predicted with alarming specificity by foreign actors, according to sources. Ratcliffe is expected to declassify the underlying intel, including an annex used in the Durham probe. And so I started going through this and highlighting stuff I wanted to read, and I ended up just like highlighting the whole article. It's because I do think it's all relevant and it gives a good refresher. U.S. intelligence had credible foreign sources indicating that the FBI would play a role in spreading the salacious Trump-Russia collusion narrative before the Bureau ever launched its controversial Crossfire Hurricane probe. Source familiar with intel told Fox News Digital. CIA Director John Ratcliffe is expected to declassify the underlying intelligence, including a classified annex related to former special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. So what they're saying is like our intelligence, we had intercepted Russian intelligence, and some of that stuff was like DNC communications, guys. So this could be interesting for sure, which is why I'm reading it. And if that's what it is, like that, the DNC communications were basically saying that the FBI was going to play along with their attempt to vilify Donald Trump. So it's possible, if you read the tea leaves here, that our intelligence community had DNC Clinton communications, campaign communications, whatever it is, emails, maybe, that the FBI and the intelligence community would participate in the spreading of the Trump-Russia collusion narrative. That's like how I'm reading this and why I think it's so interesting. A source familiar with the contents of the classified annex told Fox News Digital that while it may not have been exactly clear in the moment what the intelligence collection meant with the benefit of hindsight, it predicted the FBI's next move with alarming specificity. Ultimately, the release of the classified annex will lend more credibility to the assertion that there was a coordinated plan inside the U.S. government to help the Clinton campaign stir up controversy connecting Trump to Russia. The source was granted anonymity. Hate that stuff. Mere days after this intelligence was collected, the FBI launched Crossfire Hurricane. It's really hard to see how Brennan, Clapper, and Comey are going to be able to explain this away. In the summer of 2020, Fox News Digital exclusively reported that former CIA Director John Brennan, in the summer of 2016, briefed former President Barack Obama and administration officials on intelligence that then Democratic nominee, former Secretary of State Clinton, was stirring up a plan to tie Trump to Russia. Hold on. Before I keep going, I want to see what the chat's saying. Why was Elvin Bragg at the presser? Yeah, people saying there's like heavy security there. You used to work there. I mean, what's security like now? A lot of the people who like want this to be some sort of calmer hit, right? That the New York's shooting happened to have like connections to like know the security, right? Isn't that funny? Not only that, but he walked across the street, the parking lot, with a thing hanging on the side. Nobody called the cops or what? Yeah, that's what's ridiculous to me. Like, just walked right in the front door with a gun, and like nobody stopped him. Nobody said anything. Nobody called the cops. Or maybe they did. I guess we don't know. There's still more to come out. Anyway, I'm going to keep going here. Ratcliffe, as director of the National Intelligence, declassified Brennan's handwritten notes memorializing that meeting, which were exclusively obtained by Fox News Digital in October 2020. And this is the part she gets wrong. On July 28th, 2016, Brennan briefed Obama on a plan from one of Clinton's campaign foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. Comey, then Vice President Joe Biden, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper were at the Brennan-Obama briefing, and here's the declassified notes. Alleged approval by Hillary Clinton from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. I'm curious who it's going to be that ends up being the one, like, who is her policy advisor? Was it Podesta or was it Jake Sullivan? My money's probably on Sullivan to stir up vilify. Anyway, what's wrong here? She has a timeline wrong. If you actually go to the report, so she says July 28th, there was a meeting on July 28th where Brennan went and met with Obama and other White House personnel. It doesn't specify who else was at the meeting, but they discussed intelligence relevant to 2016. And it was this meeting that sparked the creation of the Fusion Center. And it's only speculated that he may have briefed him about the Clinton plan intelligence here, but it's not confirmed. Comey was not at this meeting. Brennan said he thinks that he briefed Comey on it the next day on the 29th. But yeah, it says right here, at least some CIA personnel believed that the Clinton plan intelligence led to the decision being made up to set up the fusion cell. That's a July 28th meeting. The meeting with Brennan's handwritten notes, which this Brooke person is claiming was from the July 28th meeting. That meeting actually took place on August 3rd. On August 3rd, within days of receiving the plan intelligence, he briefed then all those people. And specifically, Director Brennan's declassified handwritten notes reflect that he briefed the meeting's participants regarding, and then here's the quote, the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26 of a proposal from one of her foreign campaign advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security services. So Fox News has the date wrong. This should be August 3rd, 2016, not July 28th. Anyway, per FBI verbal request, CIA provides the below examples of information the Crossfire Hurricane Fusion Cell has gleaned to date. An exchange redacted discussing U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan, blah, blah, blah. The FBI on July 31st opened a counterintelligence investigation into whether candidate Trump and members of his campaign were colluding or coordinating with Russia. I fully believe that Brennan knew the Clinton plan intelligence stuff prior to this. Like, he was probably involved from the very beginning. But it made sense that they opened up the fusion cell prior to the full briefing on everything that they documented, because that was the justification for why they opened up the fusion cell. Anyway, we're expecting this release. I'm excited about this release. Very excited. The CIA and NSA have already signed off on declassifying their sense of intelligence, which is like the basis for it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this goes. I talked yesterday about Durham, right, and the charging decisions and the decisions he didn't come to, or why he didn't charge people. And I think we're going to be revisiting those discussions heavily. I think it's important to start talking about that, because did what's his name, Garland? Did he shut down the Durham investigation? There's rumors of that. Is that part of the conspiracy? A former senior Trump official told Fox News Digital that Ratcliffe advocated for releasing the intelligence publicly then, but that Durham, who at the time was expected to release an interim report prior to the 2020 election, declined on the basis that it could negatively impact his investigation, which had not yet reached a determination on potential prosecutions. Durham said he wanted to preserve his investigation, but was going to release an interim report prior to the election of 2020. He never did it. And he was afraid he would get accused of politicization, and he disappeared. But yeah, I think that's all I really got on this. I'm just kind of sitting in a holding pattern, waiting for the declassified annexes and everything to come out. I'm just very excited to see where this goes. But yeah, we're waiting on like 4 or 5, maybe declassifications, maybe more. I don't know. But this is going to be a big one. If we can get proof that our intelligence community had actual, I mean, it'd still be Russian intelligence, they call it. But if it was Russian intelligence of real DNC, FBI, Hillary campaign emails showing that they were all involved, and then their justification as to why they didn't include it, and how it like sparked this whole Russia collusion hoax, I mean, man, that's gonna be crazy. Some of you guys are still talking about the shooting, huh? If a cop is shot and killed, it's hard to fake. Yeah, I don't. My first instinct whenever I see stories like that, like the shooting, my first instinct isn't always like, oh, that's fake. Because I do think, especially in big cities and especially in the United States, like it's not that difficult in the United States to find somebody that knows somebody, who through a friend of a friend of a friend, like whatever, knows the person and knows that they died. Like it happened with that plane crash. Remember the helicopter that ran into the plane and it crashed in the water, and everybody's like, oh, this is fake. This is fake. Well, I actually knew somebody who had a friend on the plane, like somebody associated with Badlands. They knew somebody personally, like a longtime friend was on that plane, and they died. The mom and dad, leaving behind a solo child, was in college, but still, like, it was real tragedy, and people are out here calling it fake. It's just a little insensitive. I don't think it's easy to fake this stuff. There are bad people who do bad things in the world. But a lot of people, the way they talk about it's like, nope, everything's perfect, everything's fine, and everything you see is scripted or not real at all, or it's just like a hit job in this larger war. We don't know. You don't know that. I am seeing Drifter's Life says Tom Cotton is trying to obstruct the release of records. And yeah, I have seen that. I've heard that. I want to see if that actually gets to the floor and voted on. I don't think that's going to go through. Ash 1776, the lobby will also have security cameras. They should show us how we got to the elevators. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get that. I mean, they obviously have it. And like, if it comes out that he walked in, did the killings he did, and like starts just indiscriminately shooting, and that's how that Blackstone lady was killed, and then he gets to the wrong elevator and goes up, and if they release that stuff, basically debunking this what I would kind of consider to be clickbait, I bet you won't get a retraction out of any of those people. John, step off the rug. It's really hard, One Top Operator, not to be on the rug with this one, with the Durham report stuff or the Rushgate stuff. ND Patriot 83. I don't think anyone's calling the outcome fake. The story coming out seems fake. Yeah, a lot of people are, yeah, I understand. I'm not saying that people are saying it's fake. I'm saying I'm seeing a lot of people online who are claiming it was a hit job to take out the Blackstone person. And I don't buy it based on what I'm seeing. Like Tattoo Teacher saying this was a specific hit. She died in the lobby as she was walking out and he was walking in. How do you time that? He indiscriminately shot. I don't know. Miss Rise Tired, John, didn't you say at this point you are gladly like laying down on the rug about this one? Yeah, I'm like pretty much sprawled out on the rug. This is the one rug I'll stand on because the reason I'm on this rug is I've spent so long researching and reading through all of the available information on the Russia collusion stuff. And I've also spent a ton of time researching a lot of the players here, like Kash Patel, like Ratcliffe, the Derek Harveys of the world, the people involved in uncovering all this, Devin Nunes, Tulsi Gabbard. haven't done a bunch of research on her or Bondi. But some of the key players involved and responsible for potentially giving us justice here, I do believe are on the right side of things. And there is a there. Like, just reading through the available documentation, it's there. And they wouldn't have to be putting out these declassified documents. They've gotten away with not doing it for almost a decade. And so the fact that we're getting it, it's just really exciting. I am on the rug. Anyway. W True Love 2823. Possible he could have been trailing her. She was leaving. She was coming down and was in the lobby leaving, and he just like walked in. So that's not how trailing people work. He did let a woman walk off the elevator. Don't know why. Want to see the video. That is weird, though. Blackstone, like a Blackstone or even a Black Rock, could be a comp for BlackRock. When I saw Blackstone, I thought it was like the Blackstone grills. Isn't that the flat top grill thing that a lot of people, I mean, it was super popular a little while ago? Story fake, event very real. Maybe. It also could be a real event and a real story that he did want to, like, we don't know. I mean, we've been burned so many times and we've been lied to so many times that we want to, like, just initial reaction, we're being lied to, and it's likely we are. I'm just gonna wait a little bit and see if we get more details, especially see if we can get the security camera footage. Q of Swords 3. He could have had an earpiece with a handler directing him. Yeah, he could have. I mean, who knows? He could have been on LSD and the unicorn could have been telling him what to do. We don't know. And, like, I'm not the guy that's going to be, my first reaction is to, like, think of all these other what ifs and possibilities to fit the confirmation bias that this was a hit to take out a deep state asset, when a majority of what we're being told and what we're seeing is, like, going against that narrative. But again, we don't know yet. Yeah, the conspiracy theories of the targeting and all that stuff, that's stuff that goes viral. I just think it's a little crazy. Ash, the LSD unicorns would never tell him to do this. That's true. That's true. But let's just wait and see. I'm hoping we get some sort of security footage at some point, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to move on from that story unless you guys keep making really awesome comments in the chat. Covered that. I don't know if I need to go into this. I'll just read the headline, I guess. Social media posts unmask anti-Trump sentiments of CIA officer who helped draft Russia intel report. So the lady who led the team that helped draft the intel community assessment on Russian meddling in the 2016 election has been on a media tour to defend her work, exposing her anti-Trump sentiments. Yeah. I mean, all these guys, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, all the deep state players, anybody involved in this is obviously Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, McCabe, Mark Elias. They're all going to be all over any available network they can, any microphone they get in front of, to try to speak their side of things, right? Debunk it. So that's not surprising at all. This was a funny one. Justice Department files complaint against Chief Justice Boasberg over anti-Trump remarks. The Justice Department on Monday filed a misconduct complaint against, I like a hair in my mouth. Sorry. Against U.S. District Court Chief Judge James Boasberg. In a post on X, Attorney General Pam Bondi said the complaint was based on Boasberg's improper public comments about President Trump and his administration, which undermined the integrity of the judiciary. Supposedly, this is reporting by the Federalist, revealed that Boasberg had advised Chief Justice John Roberts and more than 24 other federal judges that members of the D.C. District Court were concerned that the administration would disregard rulings of federal courts, leading to a constitutional crisis. The remarks were made during a judicial conference meeting in March, where high-ranking federal judges met to discuss court policy and administration. According to the internal memo obtained by the Federalist, Boasberg raised these concerns during a closed-door working breakfast, prompting Chief Justice Roberts to respond with hope that no crisis would materialize. Roberts also remarked that his interactions with President Trump had been civil and respectful, The discussion, which took place while Trump is a named defendant in numerous ongoing cases before the district court, was inappropriate and prejudicial. Federal judges are expected to observe a presumption of regularity, which assumes public officials comply with the law and discharge their duties properly. The memo shows that Boasberg disregarded that standard in Trump's case. I wonder what like the effects of this will be, though. So you file a complaint. Where does that lead? Like, what's the outcome of this complaint? Does he get disbarred? Does he get taken off all these Trump cases? I legit don't know. Ash, you're in the chat. Maybe you know. But I have no idea. Everybody's saying Spetzel's onto something. Spetzel said, unless the LSD unicorns were MK Ultra by the aliens from Cygnus Prime. There we go. You guys are figuring it out. See? You're figuring it out. But yeah, Ash, if you know like what happens with this referral or this complaint filed, misconduct complaint, if he can be taken off, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously judges aren't supposed to do that, but it seems pretty mild compared to like the treason I would accuse him of. Cash App opens up to Apple Pay and Google Play for the first time. The only reason I wanted to share this is because this is like the only payment platform that I can actually use. I don't get to use PayPal. I don't get to use Venmo. I can only use Cash App. I've been kicked off the rest of them. Mike Rothschild is the one who wrote an article and got me kicked off. But it's going on the offensive in peer-to-peer payments. The Block-owned payments platform on Tuesday unveiled Pools, a new peer-to-peer feature designed to make group payments simple. It's the company's first major P2P product launch in nearly 2 years. This is the first time we're going into out-of-network payments with Pools. Pools allows users to create and manage a shared balance for group payments, whether splitting a dinner bill or collecting funds for a group trip. I think it's an interesting idea. But yeah, I'm a fan of Cash App just because they allow me to stay there. Ooh, Zach was unpersoned by Cash App. I didn't know that. Interesting. Ash says he can get a bar complaint, but it's likely anything, maybe unlikely. I think she meant it's unlikely anything will happen to him unless Congress takes action. And yeah, guess what, guys? Congress probably isn't going to take any action. I actually have a story about that, I think, somewhere. Yeah. Well, here, it's more Senate, but Senate faces dilemma with slow rate of confirmations. Republicans are contemplating new measures to increase the rate of confirmations for President Donald Trump's nominees. Last week, the Senate Republican Communications Center noted that 107 civilian nominees have been confirmed by the upper chamber. That is about 42% of the 255 who were voted out of a committee to the full Senate for confirmation vote. As of July 22nd, within that group, 86 key positions like ambassadors and cabinet secretaries have been confirmed without significantly more confirmations while the Senate is still in Washington before it leaves for its August recess. The number of Trump confirmations will continue to lag. But here's the thing. So they're going on this break. They apparently come back like every couple days and just like, do a little thing to pretend that they're in session just so that Trump doesn't get recess appointment authority. And that's BS. But they're going to do it. But they shouldn't do, I mean, first of all, they're illegitimate in the first place. So this whole thing is retarded. But if we're going to pretend that they are legitimate or pretend that we're going to operate and pretend that they are, whatever, then why are they not helping Trump? Like, why are these people not doing what is in Trump's best interest? Don't go on break. Don't go on break until you get everything done that Trump needs done. 50 John was unpersoned by Cash App. That's in Cash Patel. That's really funny. That's really funny. And slightly true. Fake Congress goes on a real break. Ironic. Yes, it is, Bay Theater Dave. Yes, it is. Letitia James. Got Loretta Lynch on the mind because of the mid-year exam stuff. She is suing the Trump administration for kicking illegal immigrants off of SNAP benefits. They're suing to give welfare to illegal aliens. Just listen to a little bit of this.
Thank you, Attorney General Bonta. The SNAP program is a critical lifeline for tens of millions of Americans throughout our country, and specifically 2.9 New Yorkers. Every day, SNAP benefits make it possible for working families to afford to put food on the table. And more than half of those who receive SNAP are families with children, and more than a third have elderly or disabled family members. Without SNAP, many families would not be able to count on their next meal. For decades, SNAP has prevented people from going hungry and saved countless lives. But now, This administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants. It is outrageous. It is unacceptable. And this administration has demanded that states hand over sensitive personal information of all SNAP recipients going back to 2020. That includes addresses, social security numbers, immigration statuses, and more. This is not for research or to improve a service that millions count on. No, they are basically trying to weaponize the SNAP program against immigrant communities in violation of the law. And we collectively will not stand for it. That is the administration's plans, and they have made it abundantly clear. They even removed a notice on the USDA's website.
Okay, that's enough. But she's suing. I think she's gonna end up going to prison at some point. Oops. But we'll see. Ash just sent this over, and I want to read it. I haven't read it yet, so I don't even know if I have commentary on it. But her commentary when she sent this over says, "This retard," with a link. So little, she's not a fan. I don't want to let that color my interpretation of this, so I'm going to do my best not to. I'll remain unbiased. But Hawley introduces legislation to send $600 tariff rebate checks to Americans. The legislation would send $600 to adult Americans and dependent children who make less than $75,000 a year for individuals, $112,000 a year for head of households, and $150,000 for joint filers. This retard. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley on Monday introduced legislation, blah, blah, blah. I just read all that. Hawley co-authored the legislation creating the COVID-19 pandemic stimulus checks. The move comes after President Trump told reporters last week he'd be interested in sending Americans tariff-related rebate checks, though he did not indicate how much those would be. I hate this shit, though. Like, I hate our tax system because it's not a flat tax rate. And then I also hate how when they do any rebates or anything, even though I would get one of these, it's not flat either. Like, it's uneven. It should be a flat, like, okay, let's say, first of all, flat no tax. We should not be paying taxes. But if you're going to do taxes, it should be the same percentage across the board, 1% tax. And if you're going to give a rebate, it should be the same rebate for everybody. Percentage rebate. So stupid. And I'm not even sure. Oh, I want to read the legislation. So when I see stuff like this too, like obviously I'd love to get more money in my pocket. But I don't know. This seems grifty. This seems like something Anna Paulina Luna would do. I bet she like co-sponsored this legislation. Actually, you know what? I wonder if I can find that. Hold for processing. I'm gonna look. Oh shoot! How do you spell his name? Yeah, how can I find him? Come on now. Okay, let's do newest. You guys can see what I'm doing. Newest to oldest. Oh yeah, so she wouldn't. He's Senate, so she wouldn't be able to co-sponsor. Is there like a detailed thing of it? No. Lame. Anyway. Someone in my comments called Holly APL's apprentice. Lee Walden, John, please share more previews of Brad's Codex 911. I'll see what I can do. I think he's working on a longer trailer, and so we'll get that out at some point when he's ready. But yeah, I'm very excited about that documentary. We got this. California, their $20 minimum wage killed 18,000 restaurant jobs, according to a new study. I mean, now there could technically be other factors. California just sucks. But perhaps the greatest example that good policymaking intentions go awry is the minimum wage. Proponents of increasing the minimum wage argue that doing so will help the poor. But there's a study done by the National Bureau of Economic Research The paper covers California's 2023 law, which enacted a $20 minimum wage for restaurants that had at least 60 locations in the U.S. This is a significant increase from the fast food minimum wage in California, which had been at $16. Fast food employment in California had declined by 2.64%, whereas employment in non-minimum wage intensive industries had increased by 0.58%. The contrast, so they lost 18,000 jobs by raising the minimum wage. But again, the policy decisions in California with the cost of living there is insane. So there are contributing factors, but I think these are notable arguments that need to be studied and made. And so I think it's interesting and worth showing. Speaking of tariffs, U.S. tariff revenues just broke the monthly record for July 2025 at a whopping $28 billion, the highest monthly total so far this year. And that's only through July 25th. Means we could end up getting more. I think I saw Lutnick say that by the end of this month, or the end of this week even, end of this week, which will be Friday. So, or Thursday, the 31st. We'll do end of the month and end of the week, same date almost. They're going to have pretty much all the tariffs across the board completed and ready, and like the deals and numbers. The only one that they're not going to potentially have ready is China's and probably Russia's too, but we'll see. Endgame, Netanyahu now plans to annex Gaza, bowing to extremist members of coalition. Having rendered much of Gaza uninhabitable and displacing a huge proportion of its population, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to propose a plan by which Israel will begin claiming parts of Gaza to be Israeli territory, with an eye on eventually seizing all of it. The scheme, which is said to have President Trump's backing, though also certain to trigger international condemnation, is aimed at preventing his extremist ruling coalition from splintering, according to Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Under the scheme, Israel will give Gaza political and militant group Hamas a short deadline for accepting a ceasefire. After Hamas refuses to accept Netanyahu's terms, which will likely be written to guarantee refusal, Israel will start annexing portions of Gaza, starting with the buffer zone it has created along the perimeter of the territory before proceeding to claim more land in the north. Eventually, all of Gaza will be claimed as Israeli land, fulfilling the wishes of extremist ministers who are vital to Netanyahu's ruling coalition. There you go. Going to try to get the Gaza Strip as Israeli territory. I wonder if I'm surprised Trump is like okay with it. He wanted to make it the Riviera of the Middle East, didn't he? Unless that's what Netanyahu is planning to do. I don't know, but I encourage you to watch Ghost and get his take on this. I wonder, is he doing a show today? Or is that tomorrow? I never remember what day he does his. Yeah, so it's today, 2 p.m. Eastern, Geopolitics with Ghost. I'll send you guys over there after the show's done. You guys can get his take on it. But yeah, in the UK, say they may recognize Palestinian state in September if Gaza conditions change. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said Monday that the UK could formally recognize a Palestinian state as early as September, but only if the set conditions are met before the United Nations General Assembly convenes. According to a cabinet summary released following a closed meeting, Starmer said recognition would move forward unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, reaches a ceasefire, makes clear there will be no annexation of the West Bank, and commits to a long-term peace process that delivers a two-state solution. So things are getting spicy. I saw a story come out, or maybe I saw it on social media, kind of alluding to what I was saying yesterday about Trump making these peace deals to like keep the theme going that he's the peacemaker. And no, it might have even been a Twitter post. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. It's from the White House itself. Let me pull this up. I said yesterday that it's like he's keeping this narrative going that he's the peacemaker, and some of these peace deals were like things we didn't even realize were a conflict, right? And he solves them while he's on True Social, like he solves these conflicts on True Social. And then the White House put out today, peace through strength. Trump is averaging one peace deal or ceasefire a month in the second term. Like the two biggest ones, Israel, Ukraine situation, obviously a lot more complex. A lot more going on behind the scenes, I would imagine. Those ones are yet to be resolved. But I just thought that was right in line with what I was saying yesterday. I haven't been covering the story fully, but there's this guy who apparently invented a way to turn plastics into gasoline, like plastoline and like plastodiesel. And his name is Julian Brown. And he apparently went dark on social media but apparently safe. But anyway, here's I'll read the story. The mother of Julian Brown said her son is safe in the comments to dailymail.com after the 21-year-old inventor said he was under attack earlier this month. Brown invented plastiline, which he says converts plastic into fuels like gasoline and diesel. The 21-year-old has 1.8 million followers on Instagram. Brown's most recent post on the platform was shared on July 9th. He says, I can't go into much detail, but there's some very odd stuff going on. I'm certainly under attack right now. His mother says he's safe, but like the fact that this is a thing, like if it comes out that there's a viable way to turn plastics into gasoline, like something you can use in vehicles, I can't imagine the petro industry would be too pleased with that, and neither would the green news scam people, because those people, they want pollution, they want all that shit. It fits their narrative. But if you could take the plastics in the water or whatever, the polluted areas, and like turn it into gasoline, man, that's a crazy invention. But it just reminds me of all the people who, like, you had the vehicle that could run on water gets killed. Like, how many times have we heard that story? Multiple. House probes Spotify over censorship after Joe Rogan, Steve Bannon disinformation controversies. House Judiciary Committee on Tuesday launched an investigation into Spotify over concerns the music and streaming platform could be censoring free speech. Post has learned censorship has been a point of tension for Spotify, which has faced heated backlash for flagging COVID-19 information. When are you going to get YouTube? When are you going to get Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, PayPal, Venmo? This is a start. I'm happy it's a start. It's a good start. Whatever. Got to start somewhere. But what took so long? And you better not just stop at Spotify. I'm curious to see this investigation, though. We do, I think, put stuff on Spotify through Badlands. I don't know if you guys knew, we're on like all major podcast platforms as well, like Apple Podcasts. You can find our shows there, recordings of it. We don't advertise it much because they don't allow us to monetize. We don't get money from the podcasts because we're censored over there. Half of our, like, I bet it's every day, maybe every other day, I get at least one notification where one of the platforms took down one of our podcasts for misinformation or disinformation or whatever. Happens all the time. But that's why we encourage you to watch on Rumble here. Or YouTube, I guess, or Twitter, whatever's easiest for you. But YouTube, Twitter, they all censor, every one of them. And speaking of Joe Rogan says he draws a line in the sand against Donald Trump over Epstein. He's the one who had Kash Patel on his show asking about this, and Kash Patel is like, yeah, bro, it's not what you think it is. But he apparently is saying he's drawn the line in the sand. He had a guy on his show. Let me find this line in the sand. Rogan told guest Mike Baker, a former CIA officer, on a recent episode of his podcast. The host continued, we thought Trump was going to come in and a lot of things were going to be resolved. We're going to drain the swamp. We're going to figure everything out. You have this one hardcore line in the sand that everybody's been talking about forever, and they're trying to gaslight you on that. The conversation began with Rogan discussing chaos and politics. Rogan addressed the Epstein backlash at the beginning of the episode, saying the Epstein thing is so crazy. And him saying, what do you care? Why does everyone care about Epstein? At a cabinet meeting earlier this month, Trump asked a reporter, are you still talking about Epstein? Rogan and Baker discussed the fallout over the Epstein files in depth, and Baker saying, just release everything, he added. The mob wants to eat, right? And they've been throwing red meat to the mob about Epstein files for years now. Trump has not been doing that. It's part of how he got elected. That's not true either. Trump never once said anything about Epstein on the campaign trail at any of his rallies. He's only ever responded to it when other people have asked. He never promised to declassify that stuff. He said, oh, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll declassify it. This is a influencer-driven crisis, and it's annoying. I think I might. Oh, no, we got a couple more stories here. U.S. job vacancies dropped to 7.4 million as hiring eases. Employers posted 7.4 million job openings in June, down from 7.7 million in May, and below the 7.5 million economists had forecasted. That's good news. Anytime you beat expectations, especially with the economic numbers stuff, especially when the mainstream media is trying to gaslight us and say that everything Trump is doing is wrong. Not true. Tomorrow, I think we're expecting the Fed decision on rates. See what happens there. Okay, the last thing I was going to talk about today was this. And I just have the article pulled up. I didn't even like listen to this stuff. I know there's videos of liberals freaking out over Sydney Sweeney. So we'll read about it together. American Eagle Outfitters' marketing pivot from the toxic woke era, which originated from cultural Marxism, to actress Sydney Sweeney's assets appears to be the correct move for the clothing company, given that the Overton window has shifted center right, with mainstream Americans cheering the end of woke. But the woke mob isn't taking it well. Some unhinged liberals are now comparing Sweeney's denim ads to Nazi propaganda. Let's jump right in. One leftist activist on TikTok with an LGBTQIA plus whatever other letters come next flag chimed in. Let's listen to this.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
Oh my God, that's retarded. Here's another one.
Did American Eagle just run an ad for eugenics?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has her genes.
Totally just talking about denim, right? Just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman explaining how her good genes gave her personality and purity. I mean, are we really going to pretend that this isn't a little fashy-coded? Look, I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney personally wrote this ad to revive the Third Reich, but American Eagle absolutely knew what they were doing here. You don't get to drop lines about...
These people are idiots. I just want to show one thing at the end of this article, just to kind of show how it shifted. This is cool to see stuff like this. Like, this is 2020 advertisements on the left, Nike, and then on the right, like that's even though I'm not a fan of Nike because of the bullshit they've done in the past, it's cool to see them make the shift. Same thing with American Eagle. And the left obviously is not going to take it well when they had what they wanted. They had everything they wanted with the woke agenda. They were getting their way for a while. And when you take the kids' toys away, they're going to complain. They're going to cry. And that's what we're seeing. So it's pretty funny. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I will send you over to Ghost Show Geopolitics with Ghost. Let's do a quick little check on the Rumble rants here first. We got a few here. Rocky Top Apologist for $2 says to the chat. Thank you. Good to see you, Rocky Top. Tattoo Teacher, that's a huge narrative boomerang. Now the conversation can be NFL and athletics for profit, not gun control. Interesting. I hadn't thought of that part. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think more on it. I want to get more time and like see what actually happened here with the layout of the building, security camera footage. I don't know. I just think there's got to be more. Final demand. Retards think this is a white hat op. Trump is out there trying to save the U.S. planet, and the deep state is trying to burn it down. Mainstream media will blame the gun, not the shooter. Yeah. It's good rant, man. Thank you for the $5. CSUSB Geochem 1 says, God bless you, John, and God bless all Badlanders. 40 years on this planet, and I finally found my tribe. Happiness isn't about what you have, but who you have in your life. Thank you, John. Thank you for the rant and the comment. I appreciate it. And I agree with you. Melissa S925. Hi, John. The Pennsylvania Badlanders are having a regional meetup in Gettysburg on September 6th. You're invited. All are welcome. Check out the flyer on the new Badlanders events page. I would love to make it to that, but here's the problem. There's that Next to Can Golf Invitational in Minneapolis on September 6th, and I'm going to be in that golf thing, and I think we're going to do a little meetup around the same time. But here, check this out. We got badlandsmedia.tv/events. Not only can you get your tickets to the GART, but you can find the local meetups in your area. A lot of them coming up. So cool to see these too on the website. See if there's one in the area, and if there isn't, find the group in your area or start a group and start hosting these yourselves. This is how you make new friends, like-minded people. This is how you find your tribe. These Badlanders meetups. If you can't make it to a GART, come to one of these. And then last we got CSUSB Geochem 1 for another $5. Thank you. It says plastic to fuel. There's enough in the ocean to power the world, all the garbage patches and microplastics. Yeah, exactly. Imagine what that would do. Be crazy. Anyway, guys, I'm going to send you over to Ghost. You guys have a great rest of your day. Hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. And I will see you again tomorrow right here on the Daily Herald. Have a great rest of your day.
Let's get started.
That's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.